Good night, Jenny.
Good night.
Ever since I can remember, I've had vivid dreams. I'd had this recurring nightmare. I was being chased by someone with a knife. They would stab me over and over in the back. Each time I would feel a jolt of piercing pain. Then I would wake up, and I could still feel that lingering pain. I always thought that everyone dreamt like that. I guess I just thought it was normal.
Rolling.
Scene 3, Series 7 A and B, soft sticks, take 1.
Mark it.
Mark.
I think I was about 14 or 15 when I started to complain about feeling really tired all the time. When I first went to see my family doctor, they did blood tests and things, and they said I was tired because I had low iron, which was true. They thought I was depressed, which was true. A lot of teenagers experience these kind of things, so it was really hard to try and explain that I felt like it was something more. I was officially diagnosed with narcolepsy when I was 21 years old. So 7 years after my first initial consultation with medical professionals.
Do you know what you're wearing to the sleep study?
I think I'm just packing like a lot of comfy clothes,
Yeah.
but I'm realizing I don't actually have like a lot of pajamas.
Not sleeping in the
No.
nude.
Well, that's what I usually do is I sleep naked.
Okay, we've got microphone, camera,
Yes.
adapter.
I'm really like so grateful and appreciative that you've agreed to come with me on this and fly out with me, because it's so reassuring knowing that I have like one of my best friends that's going to be there with me and be filming this, especially when I feel so vulnerable when I'm sleeping. So I'm just so appreciative that you're coming.
I'm genuinely touched that you wanted me to come with you on this. I'm happy to be there for you.
I saw this post on Instagram, and they were looking for people with type 1 narcolepsy to come to Montreal and be part of a sleep study. I knew from the beginning that this study wasn't going to give me any information on myself. The hope is that they will maybe find some answers and potentially find a cure or a cause in my lifetime.
Jenny is participating to our study because she does suffer from narcolepsy type 1. So the main symptoms of narcolepsy type 1 are first the symptoms that you experience during the day, so excessive daytime sleepiness, kataplexy, which is a very sudden phenomenon where people will lose strength in their muscle. The symptoms at night of narcolepsy include disrupted sleep, so prolonged and frequent awakenings, sleep paralysis, and sleep hallucinations.
People often have odd responses to when I tell them I have narcolepsy. They will often reference movies and laugh and say, "Oh, aren't you like that girl that falls asleep into her food and passes out?" Or they say things like, "So you could fall asleep right now, you could pass out right now." Or they say, "Oh, I wish I had that." I just don't think they realize that it is a disability. Basically, I fall asleep, but I'm not actively engaged in something. So if I'm just sitting and watching or not fully participating or moving, I can fall asleep. It's also affected my safety when I'm traveling by myself, especially in new places, because yeah, you fall asleep by yourself. You're very vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it'll be great just to even just black out some of those windows, even if we have to shoot in the daytime. And we'll get a lot of the sleeping coverage of Jenny during that moment as well.
Hey guys, I'm just gonna put myself on mute and turn my video off really quickly, but I'm still here and I'm listening.
Okay, Jenny, sounds good. We should probably talk about the exterior. We're gonna have to do probably some...
I remember the first time I took modafinil, I was like, oh my God, is this what it feels like to be awake? Is this what everybody's feeling like on a daily basis? Because it's amazing. And I think I like went to the gym, I studied, I cleaned my apartment. It like really was a life-changing moment. I feel really lucky that I have access to a medication that is not super expensive and it's accessible for me. But I think the idea of potentially having to take medication for the rest of my life is a little scary, especially since I've already started to feel like the effects of like it wearing off. I am now 3 days out from starting the sleep study, and today is the last day that I can have my medication and also coffee. So this is gonna be very new to me, and I've already warned my crew that I could turn into a very grumpy biatch. It's gonna go downhill from here. I'm just feeling really tired and lethargic and having brain fog. Every time I pass a coffee shop on the street, I've been like, I really want one. So I'm counting down the days till I can have my coffee again. I hate that I get this way when I'm not on my medication, that I feel so like easily frustrated and easily emotional. I mean, even just talking about how tired I am has made me emotional, which is like not usually something I would cry about. Yeah, everything just feels a lot harder right now. I don't even know what I'm crying about. I really don't, but I am. It's really terrifying being told there's no cure or known cause. And I hope by doing the study, I'll maybe get some answers, because I want answers. And I want to know what my future is gonna look like.
So your room is located right there. So you can go inside, settle in, you can put your pajamas on. The whole procedure should take about like 45 minutes to an hour.
I'll try not to fall asleep.
All right, so everything is working properly. So now you're ready to go to your bed and try to sleep.
Great. Well, good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Thank you. I was 18 years old and I had just woken up. It was the morning time and I wanted to lay in bed a little longer. But when I shut my eyes, I felt this breathing on my neck. So I'd open my eyes and nothing was there. Then I closed my eyes and it happened again. I now know that this was my first sleep hallucination. Since then, my sleep hallucinations have evolved. They usually happen now when I'm falling asleep, and usually within the first 30 minutes of going to bed. They've become more vivid and more scary, and they honestly make me kind of dread going to sleep, because that first 30 minutes is usually quite terrifying.
I hear things.
Jenny! Jenny!
I feel them too. Something breathing on me. I see things.
I know it's not real, but in the moment that sense of fear is very real. And sometimes it feels so real that I just have to double check if someone is in my apartment, and I check my doors and I check my windows and I make sure no one's actually there. I always find it funny that people think I must sleep a lot with narcolepsy, because the truth is I actually don't. And that's been something I've dealt with since I was quite a young kid, where I wake up like 8 to 10 times a night. I will fall asleep, but then I'll wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to fall back asleep again. It does make me nervous for people to see this, especially people in the industry. Working in the film industry has definitely been a challenge with narcolepsy. Not only do we work very long hours, we work odd hours. It's becoming increasingly challenging for me to be able to work these very long hours in the middle of nowhere, especially when you are in a position where you have no power. It feels like you're very replaceable as well. So if I don't show up to these things, it's not like anyone's gonna make these accommodations for me, especially in the film industry, because it's not a very accessible space in general. The standard, I think, in the industry is to not take care of yourself and to not prioritize your health. So I feel kind of like, why would then I come forward with this that just complicates things?
One of the features of people with narcolepsy is that they would fall asleep quickly during the day to REM sleep. So that's what we are measuring with the multiple sleep latency test. If you compare it to someone without narcolepsy, we would expect someone without sleep problems to either not fall asleep during the nap opportunity or fall asleep late during the nap opportunity, and certainly not falling asleep into REM sleep within these 20 minutes.
So you can see what the brainwave pattern change like. It's like low, mixed frequency brainwaves. So we can tell she's now asleep. REM eye movement right there. That's a rapid eye movement. So she just started dreaming.
Most people without narcolepsy, have two different states. You're either awake or you're asleep. And when you have narcolepsy, it feels like you're never really either of those things. You're kind of stuck in the middle, because when you're awake, you still feel extremely tired and you're falling asleep. But when you're asleep, your mind is still very active, and I never feel fully asleep. It feels as if you have a battery and you can't really charge it ever to 100%. So you're constantly just trying to get by on 10%. When I was first diagnosed, I think I remember telling myself, I'm not gonna tell anyone. And we're just gonna pretend this isn't a thing. And I very much put up kind of like a wall and became very guarded about it. And I thought if I didn't talk about it, then I wouldn't have to address the very real consequences it's having on my life. So to now talk about this, not only with my friends and family, but on film, it's also making me kind of accept it.
Do people around you?
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Do people around you know you have narcolepsy?
Okay. I don't know how I'm supposed to cry and talk. I think a lot of my friends and family do know that this is something I have, but I never really tell them like the effects that it has on me, because there's nothing really they can do for me, and I just don't want to burden them with everything that's happening, because why? What could they do? I just don't want to upset them. I haven't taken these off in a very long time.
The main part of the study is the scanning session. The first series of imaging scans we do with participants are called functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI scans. So fMRI is really not to measure the anatomy, but rather to measure brain function. So people would do the fMRI while doing some memory tasks, while also performing some attention tasks. So we know that sometimes this memory task is difficult for patients because you ask them to do it while they are sleepy during the day, and sometimes it happens that people would fall asleep during the memory task, which of course would affect the way they're able to recall them after sleep.
I hate not doing well on tests, and I know I messed up so many of those. And I kept seeing faces I recognized, but couldn't remember their name because I was half asleep during seeing all those faces. So I probably got maybe 3 out of the 40 questions right on that test. What can you do?
It's really hard to like have your brain and your body not do the things you want it to, and to feel like you want to do so much, but you physically can't. That's very frustrating for me. And it's also scary thinking about the future in terms of, will it get worse? Will my medication keep on working? And will I be able to do the things that I want to do? I don't like the person that I am without my medication. I become, like, I feel like I'm not myself. I think about, like, who I am, especially when I'm really tired, and it's usually, I get overwhelmed and frustrated and quite moody, and the people that usually see that side of me are the people that are closest to me. And that's really hard to feel like I'm not giving my best self to the people that are like most important to me in my life.
What's the chances of there being a cure in my lifetime?
There is some progress and there is some hope.
Well, I hope my time here in Montreal has helped.
Hello, Jane.
Hi, Jane. How you doing?
Hi, good to see you, Mom.
Oh, good to see you too.
Good to see you.
Come on in. Hi, Dad.
Hey, sweetie. How are things?
Good.
Do you remember me having any vivid dreams when I was younger?
When you were 2.5, naughty soldiers came, those are your words, put you in prison and made you eat bugs. Those are the worst things your little 2.5-year-old mind could conceive of.
When I think back, I wonder, why didn't I see that something was not quite right? And it's because as a young girl, you were thriving. You were playing sports, you had lots of friends, you were doing well at school. I think you're a very private person. You don't tend to perhaps like to burden people with your needs, and I think that's partly why I think we didn't actually realize what you were going through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I certainly didn't appreciate how much of a struggle it must have been for you in your teens until you got diagnosed. But it was brought home to me when we had that phone call. You were in Montreal, and you were quite distressed when we spoke. This was about day 2 without your medication. And that brought home to me, well, that must have been how you were feeling before you had treatment and a diagnosis for a long time.
Yeah, I think what I'm learning to do now is be more vocal about what I need and what's happening, because I did used to be very private or not tell you everything. I just hope you guys know it's not because I don't think you don't care. It's because I feel like you care so much that sometimes I don't want to tell you because I don't want you to be upset. But you're my parents and you want to hear these things.
We do.
And it's better when I share these things. Yeah. I didn't think I was going to cry today.
I still feel very bad that we didn't see it. I feel guilty.
You shouldn't feel guilty because, like, what I'm exploring in this documentary is, like, most people don't know. I didn't know. No one knew. And how would you? So there's nothing to feel guilty about. And I'm really, really thankful that I have you both.
I'm grateful we have you.
Thanks, Dad. I always knew this was going to be very uncomfortable for me to talk about. Like, I've been very nervous about this. And that's why it's so hard, is because I spent so long building up these walls to not talk about it. I'm kind of like, oh God, why did I do this? To myself, why did I put myself in this situation? But I'm trying to remind myself why I'm making this film and why I want to talk about this. And it's because maybe someone will see this who has narcolepsy and they won't feel as alone. I know my narcolepsy will likely not get better. If anything, it will get worse. And I have to accept that. But what I can get better at is managing my narcolepsy and advocating for myself and my needs. I don't want to feel insecure or ashamed of how I show up in the world and to people around me. Masking who I am and my symptoms is exhausting in itself. In a way, I feel really ready and very liberated that this is going to be out there.